philosophical approach, designing a kind of roadmap to remain focused on the pursuit of the purpose of in life, not really pursuing the happiness or success, but to pursue a purpose of life. That's how I understood it, and that's how I could see the message behind Success Mantra. It is needed for younger generation and also for the ones who think that they found their purpose in life. But the problem, a lot of people are confused or mistaken purpose of life with goals. In fact, I keep on getting a lot of people ask me, especially young fellows, and they ask me, what is wrong with me? I achieved my purpose, but I am not happy. Or others, they say, I have all I need and I wanted to get and I dreamed of, but I feel so bored. Others, they say, what is wrong with me? Because actually I cannot see my purpose in life. Some other, they say, my purpose in life is to be famous doctors, for example, and help others. My answer always is purpose of life is bigger than you. It's bigger than the person itself. Purpose of life is life. All you do all you do in life, or the purpose of life, it's life itself. It's greater, in its greater sense. Pursuing and all you do is what helps you to find life itself. Mantra gives you the blueprint, guides you to find what pursuing the purpose in life. So I recommend the book for to all to read it. Because it's not only a blunt book to tell you how to find a purpose or how to find your purpose, because the purpose comes within. And I recommend it to read and to see the philosophy behind it. You can find it on Amazon, and I will be happy to pass the word back to you, Brent.
Thank you, Malak. Absolutely. It's very appreciative of everything you had to say. The next speaker that we've got for some more opening remarks is Adam Alonzi. Thank you again, Malak. Adam. Is Adam here?
Sorry, the absence of okay, Adam is here. Let me hear. Adam alone. BioViva. BioViva. So, okay. So, recap. So recap, Brent, you can recap so that because Adam is here now.
All right, Adam Alonzi, are you ready to begin with the next portion of these opening remarks then? You may be muted.
Oh, I am muted. I see. Okay. Oh, hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. The Success Mantra was an excellent book, a timely message for futurists around the world. As you can see, dealing with an abscessed tooth, extraordinarily painful, but that's okay. I came here anyway because that is how much I believe in this book's message. One of the things that I've written about, at least as far as cryptocurrency is concerned, is I'm always amazed by the amount of interest it generates in, well, throughout the world, and particularly countries like Nigeria and Kenya. In fact, back in 2014, there were over 14 million, Bitcoin wallets. So these are the future. These are emerging nations that are going to do amazing things with time. And I'm glad that we have thought leaders like Mr. Kalu who are guiding them, because as I mentioned in the foreword, we need technological progress, we need engineers, we need people with that sort of know-how, but we also need it to be informed by philosophy. We need personal development. We need these sort of insights that make sure we use technology responsibly. And that starts with us. And at this point, there's nothing that we've made, nothing that we can make for the foreseeable future that will make us moral, decent beings. And we don't have AI that will allow us to prioritize societal values just yet. That's all going to come from us. And that's why a book like this is important.
Thank you, Adam. Is that everything you have to say for now?
I think for the time being.
Great. Well, I appreciate everything that you had to say there. At this point in time, I will be passing the mic off to Osi Nakachu to have a presentation from the author himself. Osi?
Okay. Good day, everyone. And our protocols to be observed. I wish to welcome you all to this location. And first, I would like to appreciate your time, all that you're doing, and availing it and sacrificing it for this book. And I would like to welcome the presence of the president of Lifeboat Foundation and its delegates, and the members of the U.S. Transhumanist Party, and our officers who are here present. But before I proceed, I would like to appreciate the effort of the editor of the book, Dr. Sarita Sharma from India, and I also appreciate Adam Alonzi for his time and sacrifice in writing the forward. I appreciate the efforts of all the viewers and our dear beloved friend Malak Loeb, who sacrificed a lot in making these resources. I thank all those who are handling the technicality, all those who did made promotions about this event, and all who are also keeping watch in making sure that the technicality of this event ends well. So I truly appreciate your sacrifices and your effort. So I will talk a little about sources mantra and why I took time to craft the book. It's all about discovery of papers. Most people don't really understand what it means to be, and most people are influenced by mundane things, what they see, they want to become, and they don't want to live through, which is different. You don't just wish, but you ask to become what motivates you, and sometimes what you like may not be good for you. for you to really go down well, for you to really live a life of fulfillment, you need to actually discover who you are and then work towards becoming what you wish to be. So these are two paradigms, and this book I wrote it from the existential viewpoint and trying to uh, pick up stories that helps one discern properly well and actualizing it. I think the reviewers did wonderful works, and the chief reviewer Fatima Hassan to give us the review. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you very much, OC. Again, thank you for everything. Next guest today, doing a review on the book would be Fatima Hassan. Fatima.
Hey everyone, I hope everyone's doing well. My name is Fatima Hassan and I am the reviewer of this book. So first off, I found that there were a lot of things that were very interesting to note. I absolutely loved the little maxims and proverbs that Osana Kachi had written before every chapter began. And I think that they were very telling as well. I think one of my favorite parts was when he talks about, sorry, I'm just going to open the book right here. So this is page 23, exactly when the preface begins, written by Hossein Akachi himself, and it says, "Don't spend time trying to understand others when you're yet to understand yourself." And I felt like it's a very good start of this book because we all know what it is. We all know it's a very short, smart, and fetching book on how to achieve success, as the name suggests as well. I feel like the way the book is structured with those small chapters and the maxims in the beginning, obviously, are also very telling. And I love how he extends his love to everybody else and tells them that if you can't be successful for yourself, at least do it for me. So I felt like there was a lot to talk about. I'm sorry if I'm going a little bit fast, but I have so much to say and I only have 10 minutes. So I'm going to try to wrap it up in that time. So we all saw that another thing that I noticed in this book was exactly how optimistic it is. Especially in the last chapters when we see the discrepancy between an optimistic person and a pessimistic person, that was telling us something as well. What Hossein Akachi tells us is that it's never too late and you can always overcome your fear and begin your road to success. So I felt like that was very interesting. Also, to quote Adam Alonsi, who wrote the of this book, he says it contains a message that is timely. It should be heard again and again by people around the world to promote peace, unity, and brotherhood. We need to begin now. Tomorrow will not wait. And I feel like even all of us in this room right now, in this Zoom meeting, are all from very different parts of the world. And just to see how this book has brought all of us together is also something to ponder about and see exactly how much has been achieved through this very tiny book, which is a very huge call to action. Now, one of the other things that this book did was, as I wrote in my own review for the book, was talk about COVID-19 and how people are doing so many other things like learning new skills or getting out of their comfort zone, and how Hossein Akachi says that this is the time to be doing that because this is a break from everything that from our normal routine life. And I felt like that was also something very interesting because it was something that resonated with me, with my friends, with many people who I talked to about this book and forced them obviously to buy it. So yes, those were some of the things that I saw. So one more thing just before we close off and just before my time is, I don't know how much time I have. Brent, if you could just let me know exactly how many minutes I have left. Right, so
You actually got on a little bit early, so you still have some time, so take your time.
Oh, brilliant. Right, thank you. So the editor, Dr. Sarita, encapsulated the book with many different quotes in her own review of the book and in her own preface. What I liked the most was when she talked about how this book is there to make our lives simpler, fuller, and more purposeful than they already are. So we know that this book is actually a guide for how to achieve success. It's actually a step-by-step guarantee of how we can improve ourselves, how we can work harder, how we can take on different roles and be somewhere. Now, one more thing that I think Adam Alonzi talked about in his talk just now was about Nigeria and writers and how the circumstances and the environment that Osinakachi is in shape all of this. And I feel like that's also very important because even Osinakachi mentions the Cold War in Nigeria and mentions exactly how people are not doing as much as they should be doing, or people are not given the same resources as they should be given to achieve many things. But he also says that that should not stop anyone and that they should actually continue forward and do things out of the ordinary despite the challenges that they actually have. And I felt like that was very optimistic and very brilliantly put as well. So yes, some of the adages that I liked, some of the maxims that I liked in this book were, you are capable, be that as it may, and so on and so forth. Procrastination is a virus to human beings. So we can see from just these certain maxims that this is actually talking about different areas of our lives. It's not just one major event. It's about many different things that we do every single day and how they shape us and who we are. So I really like how these small call to action was actually something which is very interesting for me. One more thing that I really liked, it's on page, I think 65, but I might be wrong. It's be a product of your own hard work. Time and age are not the measure for greatness. And then he mentions about how the Nigerian state is OYO, which is on your own kind of a state. So I felt like that was also something which is very important for many developing countries who are in that same state, who are in that same group of countries who need to work together and work harder. So I felt like that was something that I could resonate with a lot. Similarly, again, on another note, the entire book was premised around many case studies of different people who have lived their life a certain way or follow a certain philosophy. And I felt like all of those case studies are very personal, very relatable to all of us, and spoke a little bit more about the book than just writing everything down and just narrating it. It was more like a showing than telling. So I really liked the case studies as well that Osinakachi has expanded on in his book. I think that's all from me. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Fatima. Appreciate everything again. Glad that you were able to finish the book. I'm still in the middle of it myself, but I'm looking forward to completing it. So yeah, next will be myself speaking here for a few minutes. I just want to thank you again, Osi, for having me here. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and really, truly inspirational to see everything that you're doing. As we've discussed, like technology, our influences, just whatever they may be, are all capable of affecting all of us for better or for worse. Especially as you've expressed to me, Osi, when you were discussing the youth and in their eyes. I'm not in my youth anymore by any means, but I'm still very grateful to know you, as I said, and you've been a very greatly positive influence on my life and clearly on many others. The way that you set yourself apart and the effort that you put forth towards establishing yourself and spreading your ideas and your passions while accomplishing your goals is truly inspiring. The Transdisciplinary Agora for Future Discussions is an incredibly interesting organization, and I'm absolutely looking forward to getting more involved with it in the future. On that note, the topics that you've asked me to discuss here today are futurism, as well as self-improvement. Futurism brings to mind many thoughts and ideas. To some, it's a pretty scary topic to broach. Personally, I try to remain optimistic when I'm thinking of it, but I don't naively expect some kind of utopian society or civilization to just magically come into place overnight. I think that a big thing that's going to have to happen before anything like that takes place is that people and ourselves, we are all going to have to learn how to respond to fear. One of the things that helps me most effectively process fear is through determining what it is that I have control over. It is important to stay in control over our responses to fear. And sometimes doing that means letting go of control over the things that we desperately want to have control over, but we can't control. I'm not saying by any means that we should be trying to ascertain control over everything. People spend so much time just worrying about things beyond their control that sometimes it's important to remember what it is we can control. Fear is a natural part of life. O.C. talks a good deal about fear in his book and was discussing with me how he studied fearism in the past. Fear, I know, is a primary emotion, one that's not inherently evil. Well, what we do with fear is many times toxic. Fear can also motivate us in many ways. Fear is a very powerful emotion and can be useful if we choose to overcome it in healthy ways. When I take the time to try to understand my own fears, I feel I'm capable of making more rational decisions. While futurism is an incredibly exciting topic for many of us, it's also a topic that does trigger fear for many people. Fear of the future has always been natural, fear of the unknown as well. Now we've got to think about things like dangerous, life-threatening robots, advanced artificial intelligence, and nanotechnology. The complete loss of privacy through technology, brain-computer interfacing, automation, even universal basic income are all topics that justifiably incite anxiety in most people. Some of these topics might have once seemed almost out of touch with reality, but as we go closer and closer to seeing each one of these potentially ushered into society beneath the surface for many of us. Given current events transpiring today in the world, and especially the United States over the past 48 to 72 hours, it's very clear that there's a strong fear towards authority or the 1%. On the other side of the spectrum, I'm sure there's also fear from the upper class of the lower classes as well. Surely justification on both sides. Fear of others in general is far too common today, sadly. Fear of ourselves, and of course, fear of failure. Related problems that I listed are probably comparatively easier to comprehend. It's of course easier to at least relinquish control, or at least the need to control or be fearful of some of these things that we just seem to inherently lack control over, such as these technological advances. But hopefully, we're going to be able to partake in conversations about things like the ethical use of these inevitable technologies. And in order to do that most effectively and efficiently, I believe we will need to overcome some of these other more systemic issues. It's going to be very important not to let our fears cripple us. The fear and uncertainty of our emotional responses to this fear, these fears, and learning how to understand it will give us control over our responses to fear. It is important to learn how to have this type of control over ourselves so that we can have these types of conversations most effectively, as I said, as one big unified family. It's important not to allow our fears to poison us. Fear oftentimes leads to secondary emotions like anger and hatred, or worst of all, resentment. We fear, even despise at times, those who we don't understand, through xenophobia. There are other times when we see ourselves and those around us, or project our own insecurities onto other people or situations. It's a bit of a hall of mirrors that many of us seem to put ourselves through at times. It seems that most people want to change the world, or at least something about it. I've found that real change happens on the inside first, though. Hermes Trismegistus said, "As above, so below. As within, so without. As the universe, so the soul." If we want to change the universe, or even just something about the world around us, it seems important that we first try to change something about ourselves first. I'm no guru, and I'm surely not purporting to have all the answers, or really any of them. But I will say it feels great to be a part of this international community of people who are all looking to make the right kinds of changes in the world around us as well as in ourselves. In regards to these changes in ourselves and the journey of self-improvement, OC is an incredible guide on that path, and I'm grateful to be part of this launch-off event for his new book, The Success Mantra, Decoding Philosophy to a Purposeful Life. Thank you, OC, for everything, and that's all I've got to say for now. Next, we will be having Victoria Ustamenko discuss some post-COVID-19 new normals. Thank you, everybody.
First of all, I want to thank Dr. Kalu that he invited me because he knows that I was against fear as some negative feature of our well-being. But last month I think a lot about this emotion and understand that fear help us survive. I prepare a small presentation. So we have no opportunity, but okay, I will read it. I study the new normals and have choose the topic post-COVID world, and want to describe something that I read in the newspapers, in media coverage, and understand for myself that everybody right now have some fear about and uncertainty about their future, and we see that we are living in post-COVID world, in the COVID world, and it is new normals. It's our present time. So we should, in any case, during these next 2 months, we should already, and I suppose that we already get accustomed that we need to wear masks, to keep distance, to avoid gatherings together, and that we get together and we're not just two person and more than two person. It's the great opportunity that present us our technology innovations and Zoom. But right now, for example, in Moscow, in Russia, you couldn't go to the street more than two persons. You couldn't take a stroll in the park. And in Moscow, you even choose. You need to book the time when you go for a strolling, and it's terrible for me. Thanks God, I'm living not in Moscow, but in the Moscow region, and that's why we have. So we I heard a lot about that we have three countries, two of them, Russia and USA, who had right now big problems with COVID, and who struggle against COVID, both countries have a lot of deaths, and both countries, I suppose, help to all of the world to struggle this problem, to make the vaccine. What positive we have in this situation? Because in every problem there is a solution, and in every problem there is some positive, and I'm sure on that. We see a big boom in biotech, medtech fundraising all over the world. Telemedicine, telehealth, both will be developed, and we will see a lot of investments, and it will help us to go forward in biotech, because before COVID, we have some problems in this industry because it's a future investments, and it's a risk investments. They based on grants and not by investment of business angels, for example. Because of COVID, we will see that robotics and artificial intelligence will develop too fast than we could expect if we haven't such a problem. We see that there are a lot of startups right now working on eVTOL vehicles. It's so-called flying cars. We have one advisor from such startup. It's Evgeny Borisov, Vimana Global, and they have several based in Germany, in US, and even in Ukraine right now. Flying cars, it's not the future anymore, it's the present time also. We see that a lot of people who hate to go to work, to office and have no work-life balance, have right now remote work, and they do good. They do not want to pay anymore a big rent. If, for example, they live in San Francisco, they move to Ohio or Hawaii or in Mexico, for example, and they work as a remote worker, not losing their salary. And it's positive because we know that we have stress while we're going to the office, and it's like a big stress for our immune system. I see that cashless transactions and higher interest to cryptocurrency, no matter what of scam, previous scam schemes and ICOs, bad experience with ICOs. China will work on digital yuan, and Bitcoin is still here with us. And we see that our children keep going to school and flexible to schooling to make to study at home. Which I don't know. I'm not sure that it is good, but it's positive for them for sure. Negative. We have yes, we have no public events. And a lot of fear. And I suppose that I'm sure that after the end of the pandemic, we have this fear to travel, to meet new people, to fly by airplane, or to make some to go to seer. And of course, we will have a lot of bankruptcy. And political dramas. Not every leader of the country was ready for this. For example, Donald Trump. I'm not sure that Putin is ready also, because everybody thinks they're so nobody are ready for this, and wish them luck. We hope that the International Monetary Funds, they expect for the Great Depression, such form of Great Depression, next 3 years, but we hope that we struggle through this in any case, but there is some possibility. A new normals, it's the risk of according to the World Economic Forum, COVID-19 could push 500 million people into poverty. In these countries, in the list of these countries, almost all countries, it's East Asia, Pacific, South Asia, Latin America, and Caribbean, Middle East, North Africa, Europe, other high-income countries even. And even Switzerland that have no pandemic, they have no lockdown, they have some problems with the economy also. But this situation, no matter what, this situation gives us understanding that the world is a unit system. And want we, if it was no matter do we want this or not, we are a unit. We are one planet. The planet have the unit economy, and if in the US you have a problem, you have the problem in all countries. For example, if in China we have problems in Russia, in Europe also, because people travel a lot previous years, and we were living. I'm a world citizen. I'm a planet Earth citizen, and it's dangerous. It will stay. It is dangerous right now, but it leads us to this situation that we have with COVID. I hope that we open this lockdown and we go through this in any case, and we'll stay positive in this situation. That's why I read that I want to present some technique of behavioral scientists that they advise it to manage your mindset during these challenging items. They advise us to prioritize our businesses and our that we're not at 100% give us the ability to continue. So if you have 80% done 80% in what you have planned previously, you should understand that you could have this panic, and you could you have the ability and you have the it's not bad to scare something, and this crisis teach me, and thanks for this conference to Osina Kachi, because I understand that it's not bad to fear something. It's good for your life, for your surviving. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Victoria. Appreciate everything. There's a lot to think about, without a doubt. Next, we're going to listen to Tulsi Rampandi. Was there something that you wanted to say first, though, Osi?
No.
Or, all right, then Tulsi, whenever you're ready. And thanks again, Victoria.
Thank you so much, Mr. Burns. First of all, I would like to congratulate Osinakati Akumakalu for your new book, Success Mantra, Decoding Philosophy to a Purposeful Life. First of all, I would like to congratulate you for your great initiative. So you have just tried to define the meaning of the mantra and meaning of the success in your own way. So far as I know, so you have just insisted to just confine your book on the first love yourself FLY. What a meaningful book during this competitive age. People are just being so much selfish in this 21st century, and you are just defining the success mantra. What is success for a human being? So you try to just bring all the ideas in your book, which is great and incredible. So congratulations for you, and thank you so much for inviting me as a speaker. So today I'm just going to talk about the COVID-19 and converting threats, challenges into the opportunities and their perspective of South Asia perspective. And these COVID-19 coronavirus, and especially talking about the South Asia is damnly affected, and the so many aspects of society are being so affected, like the social life is being affected, hotels, schools, university, hospitals, agriculture, investment area, industries, FGI, employment, government revenue, remittance, everything, financial institutions, and transportation, everything, airlines, everything is locked. People are locked inside the home, which is a very terrific situation. So whole world is a storm. So what to do, what not to do? So talking about the South Asian perspective in the developing nation. So we have to just get out of these things. We know that we don't have any kind of antidote and any kind of vaccine till now. So what to do? How can we just convert these kind of challenges into the opportunities in these South Asian nations? So far as you know, so we have to just confine ourselves in the techno entrepreneurship. So it's all about the 6G. So people are just locked at their own home. So cannot just have the social gathering. So what to do? So we have to just focus on the digitalize our stuff, digitalize our activities. So techno entrepreneurship is the basic necessity in these age. So social entrepreneurship throughout the technology. So we have to focus on the e-commerce. So lots of unemployment problems are just going to off. So industries are locked, industries are closed. So how can we just run the industries? How can we reopen the industries? That is quite terrible. So first of all, government should take an initiation by considering the WHO guidelines and the government's instruction. So we have to just think about the paradigm shift of the government investment pattern. For now, any South Asian nation should not focus on the development project. Government should give the emphasis on the subsidies budget. So that people can get some sort of benefit from the government side. Business are not doing good. Financial institutions are not so do. So we have to focus on the telemedicine. We have to focus on e-agro business. So in this pandemic, we have seen that health sector and health instrument are much more demanded product in the world. So South Asian governments should focus on such kind of project, which are ready to invest in the health instrument, and we have to focus in the soft infrastructure development rather than the hardliner infrastructure development. So governments should focus on the VOCA approach, VOCA antidote. We know that VOCA antidote. So governments should have vision to fight with this pandemic. Then we have to just understand, to develop the perceptual flexibility to take the multiple perspective. And there's some sort of government should take action on the charity level. There should not be any gap between the have and have not. Unequitable economic distribution may just push the government into the vanish. So last point is equity. So we have to just explore the opportunity inside ourselves as well as outside ourselves. Inside, what can we do? What can we do? What can we just renew ourselves? Inner re-engineering, reincarnation. True north direction has to be explored. Living with a clock versus living with a compass. Living with a mindfully or living not, that has to be checked. So all in all, governments should focus on the SCA, sustainable competitive advantage. So I have just studied one book, Stockdale Paradox, from good to great. We have to take the lesson from that book as well. So people's awareness level is high, but we have to understand the Goldman's emotional intelligence theory. Self-awareness level has to be increased. Social awareness has to be increased. Relationship management has to be managed, and self-management is the most important thing. So what are some basic opportunities after this COVID-19? So we can work on the data analysis. We can work in the AI, artificial intelligence, and machine learning. We can just work on the big data. So government should focus on the 6G network. So some government should focus on the robotics, energy and environment, health medicine, internet, social media, digital marketing, drone controller. These kind of new things has to be adopted. Digital marketing is the most essential tool to revive the economy. Virtual trainer, life coach, physical intelligence, emotional intelligence, mental intelligence, and spiritual intelligence, which are basic necessity to cope with these challenges. And so I have just fond of John F. Kennedy. He wrote one book, Opportunity Knocks, Danger and Opportunity. In crisis, he mentioned that be aware of danger, but recognize the opportunities. So we know that so many threats are there. We know that so many challenges are there, but we have to recognize what are the opportunities which are knocking to our doors. So know what you don't know. So we have to stop focusing on our strength. Now we have to rethink about our weaknesses. Cut down the distraction. Hang out with the different people. Try to explore the new ideas. Governments should just invest in the some sort of budget which emphasize on the subsidies budget. So now Corona has become part and parcel of our life. So like other diseases, so we have to get back with the work with the health, hygienic safety. So mainly we have to focus on the disruptive technology. Disruptive technology only can just get back our economy in the position. So live with this 360-degree life, lifelong learning never stops. So it's all about the challenges. We know that so many challenges are there, but we don't have any options. So government, social organization, NGO, regional trading blocks, WTO, WHO, IMF, World Bank, all these institutions have to work together. We have to be united. We have to be integrated and fight together. Then only we can just convert our threats into the opportunities. Mainly, the South Asian nations are basically dependent on the agriculture, fisheries, and SMEs. So government should emphasize how to just be the backbone of those industries, rather than the emphasizing on the hardliner infrastructure development. So whole world should be integrated in the single nation. Then only we can fight together. And lastly, I would like to congratulate Usinakachi Akuma Kalu for your this landside book, Success Mantra. I wish best of luck for your book. Thank you so much for inviting me as a guest. Invitees, thank you all the dignitaries. I hope we all together can just fight with this COVID. Stay safe, take care, and I wish the speedy recovery to the people who are in hospital from this virus. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tulsi. Appreciate everything there. It's very insightful on the South Asian perspective of what's going on right now with this whole coronavirus situation. I just wanted to make some announcements next. Anyone that wants a copy of the book, an e-version of the book, is welcome to reach out to OC. They can contact him to support the book. They're welcome to a PayPal donation and or a purchase per se, rather. The email address is author@gmail.com. There will be more information about how to contact OC about getting a hold of this book after the fact as well, after this launch. OC, are there any other things you'd like to say regarding to before we get to these remarks and special guests of honor?
No remark. Let's just proceed.
All right,
I think
we'll
there's
proceed
time
then.
for it.
We've got the first guest of honor, some remarks of, is Desh Suba. I hope I'm pronouncing these names right. I know I've made a couple mistakes already. My apologies. Desh, whenever you're ready.
It's not here. Just the next person. Edward.
All right, we'll move on then to Edward Hudgens. Edward.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Ah, good, excellent. Yes. First of all, I really want to thank OC for producing this book. I mean, the Success Mantra, it exactly talks about, the mindset we need in order to succeed. It starts inside. It's interesting. I was just making a few notes listening to the other speakers here, and it really does start inside of us. It's not something that's out there. Animals behave based on instincts. Humans have instincts, but we act on intent, on purpose. We have to choose our own purposes. Animals behave on instincts to survive. We have instincts, but we have to choose not only to discover how to survive, how to produce food, how to produce the technology that's allowing us to have this incredible conference. Can you imagine doing this 20 years ago? Having a conference with people all over the world discussing this. I mean, it's incredible. We have to act on purpose, not only to figure out how to survive, but how to flourish as human beings. I get a lot of my inspiration from a philosopher named Aristotle. He was a Greek philosopher, and he talked about how human beings are a combination of a rational capacity. We can think. We're not just trapped in the moment. We can remember the past. We can think about the future. And we also have emotional capacities for love, for hate. And he starts in his ethics. The first thing he talks about when he talks about the virtues is fear. Phobos. Just exactly what OC starts discussing. He talks about fear, and he says the first virtue has to be courage. Courage means that you recognize there's a danger. Life is full of dangers. To exist is dangerous. But on the one hand, you can be a coward. You can run away from every type of danger, no matter how small it is. Or you can be foolhardy. Foolhardy means that you ignore the danger to such an extent that you probably are going to get killed by it. This is stupid too. He says the medium is courage, just to recognize that there's a danger to life, there's a danger to all of our choices, and then to try to rationally figure out what's the best way. And that means you have to control your courage. It's a virtue to do that because it allows you to do all of the other things in life and to control all of your other emotions and subject them to a rational thought process. So again, Osi, you are in very good company. And by the way, Confucius, if you want to talk about Asian thinkers, Confucius had similar thoughts. The Buddha had similar thoughts about controlling yourself. This is where it all starts. I want to say a few words then about futurism and technology and public policy. And I'm going to, by the way, I'm doing a course for Osi, and thank you for offering that weeks. But what I see is that the countries in which individuals succeed most, the countries that go from being impoverished to prosperous and peaceful, are the companies that allow maximum freedom for individuals to follow their own dreams and to cooperate with one another voluntarily, whether in business or in social organizations and so forth. I've done work in this, and you'll see this in some of the work I'll be doing in the future, looking at the statistics of which countries over the last 20, 30, 40 years have done best and gone from being poor to being, from being prosperous, and how it's individual liberty that that allows them to flourish. I want to show you something. I received this beautiful sculpture in Tanzania in 1990. I was there doing international development work, and it was given to me by a group, the Tanzanian Youth and Entrepreneurial Organization. And what was interesting in Tanzania, and I was in Kenya too, by the way, that was a little bit earlier, is I saw a huge markets in which men were banging metal and making pots and pans, and they were making furniture, taking wood and converting it into furniture. Women were taking cloth and making clothing and beautiful textiles. I have one of the beautiful textiles here as well. And what that showed to me is, some people say, well, certain countries just are, the people just aren't, as good as the people in other countries. Saw in these people in Tanzania, and you can also look at Nigeria, and you can look at South Africa, and you can look at whatever country you please. You see that all people have these capacities to be productive, to be successful, to quote Osi's book. And I can give you some even stronger evidence. Most African countries are still considered to be underdeveloped. And certainly if you look at GDP and per capita income and things like that, this certainly seems to be the case. But one of the great undeveloped countries in the past was the young United States, which started with about 3 million people around the time of our independence. And we were a magnet for immigrants. My family, my mother's family, were Italian peasants. They had nothing. And my grandfather worked hard. He figured out how to get money so he could come over here and earn some more money to bring the family over. We have Irish immigrants here. We have Chinese immigrants here. We have Mexican immigrants here. We have African immigrants here. We have Jamaican immigrants here. And what happens is immigrants come here and they succeed and they raise families and they become productive and prosperous individuals. So we know that any person, whatever their background, whatever their culture, can do this. By the way, in this country, many of the technology fields are dominated disproportionately by people from South Asia, from India, from Pakistan. My dentist is from Pakistan. I could go down all the professionals in this country who are not from this country or whose background is not from this country. My doctor, Dr. Arora, is from India. Basically, it shows that with opportunity and with self-control and the success mantra that OC writes about, anyone can do it. That's what has produced the technological revolution in this country. And it gives Africa especially a chance to leapfrog what's happened in the Western countries. I'll give you one final example. I'll talk about this in the class I'm going to give. It was in Argentina. I think it was in 1990 or 91. And in Buenos Aires, which is a big city, it's kind of like a Western European city that somehow got put into South America. And I was in the downtown district. This is where the businesses were and the big firms were. And there were lots of tall buildings. And I looked up and there were like a jungle of wires overhead. That was very strange. And I talked to some of my hosts. I expected what the answer would be. I said, why are all these wires overhead? They said, the phone system is so bad in this country that businesses just string wires across the building and have their own little phone system. What happened in Latin America, because the phone system was so bad, they leapfrogged the West. Instead of having to build the big and exchanges and so forth, they went straight to cellular phones. And there's a possibility of doing that in Africa. As I look at the future technology that we've been discussing, I know some of you are going to discuss as well. As I look at that technology, I see the potential for Africa to, instead of building great big, for example, brick and mortar, maybe thousands of hospitals, they can do other things in terms of diagnostics that don't require that kind of money and input. They can skip a lot of these steps and prosper even more for less, so to speak. That's what the technology will allow. And it's very exciting to me because Peter Diamandis, who started Singularity University with Ray Kurzweil, talks in his book about the bottom billion. These are the people in the world who are poor, but can you imagine how great it would be in a world, not only if they were allowed to prosper, but how much they would contribute to all of us. And so when I look at this world, and I'm so much more optimistic because people like OC are writing books about this and doing things that so many others should do. So OC, congratulations on your book, and I really look forward in the future to working with you in this. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Edward, excuse me. I appreciate that very much. A lot of insight there. Next, the special guest of honor will be Michael Eneo. Michael?
I think Michael is not here then. I think it was
all right, no problem then.
So if I've checked also, not seen Professor Nabit Kaparaja. I don't know why. And same with review. Maybe they're having a little network problem actually. So if anyone has anything to say about it, any of the reviewers, anyone has something to say, put up their hand. Let me see where on in the mic. So in the absence of contribution or any comments, I think we can go over to the question asking session.
Go back to what? Questions and asking or?
Answering.
Sure. Are there any questions from anyone partaking for OC? Feel free to unmute yourself and speak up.
Oh, see, I'll ask a question. Well, what do you find that so far the reaction in your country to the book? Do you find that any policymakers or any media are paying attention yet? I know it just came out, so it might be a little bit early, but I'm always interested in. We in this group are enthusiastic and understand your message, but I'm curious about whether it started to get out in Nigeria and ideally in other countries. Because to me, that's I'm looking at the long range, not just the what's happening in the next couple of days.
Okay, I'm a transitionary activist, and when it comes to my approach towards reality, I follow it from the micro approach. Sorry, can you hear me correctly? Okay, I said I'm a transitionary activist, and when it comes to my approach towards reality, I choose the micro approach. So I'm not pushing the crowd, but my background, my approach towards reality is from the micro perspective. If I can transform a single person, and the transformation can multiply through the message the one receives. So when you sometimes the crowd, like I said in my last post, the crowd has no identity. So some persons, the crowd don't even sometimes don't know what they want. So if you can convince one person, they can push the message across to the other persons and all that. So when you start waiting for how the government and the society receive your information, you can't even pass any message across, because sometimes, just like what is happening all over the world, the government, they are not interested in what about the care of the citizens and all that. So they are interested in playing their game and their cards. So you see, that's why in the book I talked about influence, famous, and impact, being impactful. So these are three different things. So you need to learn how to seed to get what you want. So I prefer the micro approach. So I'm interested. I never expected crowd, but those that I'm seeing here, I'm okay by that. So thank you so much.
That's a very sound strategy, by the way. I think you're on the right perspective. Politicians usually are the followers; they're not the leaders.
So any other question?
Any other questions? Tulsi?
Yeah, Osinakachi. So I would like to know about your source of inspiration of this book. So what sort of things which just drive you to just write this book? I just want to know. So are you just generalizing your aggregate level of success, or you are just being focused on your own kind of philosophy? So I just want to know about it. Thank you so much.
Okay. You know that the philosophy is everything, and you are also a philosopher. There is no certain philosophy. Every approach towards reality is philosophical. It's not so when you talk about success, I believe that you cannot be successful without discovering your papers. And I say that it is through the discovery of papers and the preserving of papers that will make you successful. And I believe, and in the book, I explained about the meaning of successful and why it is hinged on fulfillment, being fulfilled in what you do. And sometimes our interest, what interests us, may not be where our purpose is, because sometimes we feel disdained and alienated, and as a result, we want to just make it by all means, but that is not it. So you live through and through life. Sometimes people like to live through without learning through. So you need to also follow this a kind of a methodic approach through which you can actualize your papers, preserve it, and then become successful. It's not just because of my own reflection or how there's no defined the book, like Malak said, is it cut across all walks of life, storytelling, and how you can help someone to really discover the papers and they see a way of preserving and harnessing it. So there's no one single method. It's all about it helps you to discover your papers and you know how to live through it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I have a question, if I may. Osi Nakachi, can you tell me from your the way how you see it and the way like the philosophical way you see purpose? Can you tell us what is purpose? And to be sure, once we find the purpose, that's the purpose of our life, and it's not illusion, and it's not just a goal, because there's a pursuit um, of purpose, and there is the pursuit of happiness, and people, they think that the purpose will make you happy. Is it true? Does the purpose make you like the pursuit of your purpose make you happy, or the pursuit, I mean the pursuit of your purpose is what once you are fulfilling it, you get your happiness. So you get my point in it.
Yes. That's what we call ultimate happiness and temporal happiness. That's what we call ultimate and ultimate. That when you are pursuing something that is mundane, something that's is something that going to give you lasting happiness, it's always like that. When you talk about illusion, it has to do with influence. You are influenced because you don't even know where you are going. Just like the sheep. You know, when the sheep is moving, they move towards the direction of the first person, and they don't even know what their interest is. But first of all, you need to know, you need to understand why you are. So for you to understand why you are, you need to know that which you do best, that which you are perfect in, that which when you are doing it, you get fulfillment. Fulfillment is different from happiness. You know, when you talk about happiness, happiness can be something that lasts temporarily. But when you are doing something that you gain fulfillment, even in the difficult moments, you will do it happily. For instance, let me give a practical example. If you are in the university and they force a project topic on you, when you are writing it, you won't be happy. So if they cancel the project, you'll be seeing it as an assignment. But when you are doing that, which interests you, when they cancel it, you will have this this urge of continuing without feeling bad. So in your purpose, whatever comes, whatever you meet in actualizing your purpose, you will do it happily, and you will excel. You find yourself excelling in that. But in in pursuit of just happiness and all that, you see, it is just what is temporal. But you are trying to mix things. You are mixing goals and purpose. No, you can set out goals to actualize your purpose. These things work side by side. You can set out goals because you cannot become without planning. There is always planning in life. You must plan. You must have a to-do list. You must allocate time. You must be focused. Without being focused, you will fail. Like I put out something that if you read through the book, I talked about. Not everyone that promises you something is promising in life. Some persons that makes promises, they are not promises because some of them, behind every promise, there is an intention. So if that intent is not in line with your purpose, you just ignore it. Most people make promises and they are doing it to gain something. So they are using you and not helping you. So that is it. So these are the things that we need to understand in our existential struggle as humans. Thank you.
Oh, see, it strikes me that, again, if I could quote Aristotle, talks about the distinction between happiness, which is in Greek eudaimonia, and hedonos, which is pleasure. And
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and happiness is better translated as flourishing. It's an act.
Yeah.
It's not a state of the soul. It's an activity of the soul. It's ongoing, and that really seems like the flavor of what you're talking about.
So, so excuse me. I have one another question. May I ask? Sinakati,
Yeah,
may I ask or not?
ask. I'm
So
here.
actually, we have studied so many things about so many books and from different scholars, different philosophers about the life, pursuit, ethics, success. So, what is the end of the success as per your so far? I just want to know how do you define the term success as at the time of ending phase? What is the end phase of the success?
Success, there's nothing like actualization. Success is something is potential. I see it as something that is progressive. So there is no time that you say that I am all that success. No one is holistically complete. That is it. Because you don't do you live for people or you live for yourself? It's just like a two-sided coin. So these are the things that we need to ask ourselves. So if you live for yourself, it tends towards personalism. So, but there is a way you live for the people. It leads to self-alienation. So these are the things that you need to really understand. You try to strike the balance and not place yourself set parameters, which because there is flexibility in knowledge. You need to understand some of what it is. Like, let me respond to Mr. Edward. Mr. Edward was trying to fix me the shoe of Aristotle. I must not agree with Aristotle in everything. That is why I am Nakachi and he is Aristotle.
Exactly.
We don't agree. So he is not so superior or that. So he has his own, the way you understand reality. We have our own different worldview. How you understand reality is totally different. So I speak from experience and all that. Same with Aristotle, Socrates, and all those. They are philosophers just like yourself and myself. So Augustine was trying to ask a question. He says,
thank you so much. Super. Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you very much. I'm so happy to be here at book launch of a very great friend of mine, Kachi Akumakale. I'm very much inspired by the way he does his things, and he's very much proactive and very much keen on when he wants to achieve something, and it really inspires me a lot on how he goes about his thing. I've not actually read the book, but I'm gonna read it, and I'm gonna post my review subsequently. But quickly, just on the question of a purpose that we've been talking about, I really like to get your clarification, Mr. Osinakachi, and your understanding of how you position question of purpose in the book. Because usually when we talk about purpose, usually there are some category of words or concepts that flow with purpose, and so success is one of them. If you're talking about purpose, then inadvertently at some point you have to talk about success in relationship to the purpose, whether you have achieved it or not. So how do you define purpose in the book? Is purpose something that you discover, something that you find, which means something that is actually objective outside there, or is it something that you create out of your own? So I don't know if my question is clear. Is it something that you go out to discover, which means it's an objective value outside, or is it something that you create out of your own, like you're the creator, and so you design what you define as purpose, your purpose, and go about it? So that's my question.
This question is just like asking are leaders born or made? It's the same thing. So when you talk about purpose and sources, one becomes successful when he must have actualized his or her purpose. That's my own view. So it is there is nothing like temporal success or success, actual. So you can talk about success because you live in papers. Now, first, you talk about crafting or designing your papers. You are trying to make something up there. There is this. Should I answer it from the Aristotelian? The Platonic viewpoint of harnessing that which is inside you. I think it will help you to understand better. It is inside you. If you don't discover it, you need it. In life, you cannot succeed without mentor. Everyone needs a mentor to really become better in life. So if you have a mentor, the mentor will help in shaping you, in directing you. If not, you follow the crowd and you follow momentum, you follow people or what people say. But there are a lot of things out there that excite people. That like yesterday during the pre-launch, Malak was talking about people having interest with uh, YouTubing and all that. And for instance, you see people that want to trade their papers with this issue of get rich quick syndrome. You see people they abandon what they want to become just to arrive. There is no shortcut to success. You must discover your papers. You must walk through it. It's something that you walk through. It's something that you must learn the methods. Okay, like you oftentimes you will tell me that we need to attend the program. Those programs that are designed are to help us. They are like the mantra. They are that which helps in shaping and forming us. You must be formed. You must be shaped. You must be directed in life. No one just go like that. Just like flowers, for them to be fine, for a flower to be fine, it must be pruned. Prune it. And if you want your vegetable to do well, you must add fertilizer. There are things that you need to add to something for it to become. So this is purpose is what you discover. It is within you, but you need to discern well. That's why those programs are there to help you discover them and then harness it properly. So it is not something that you craft. You just see something that you like it and you start doing it. At the end, you fail. That is why people fail in life. You fail, you do it again, you fail, continue failing, you fail inside the grave. That is it. So people, they are not happy. To that is just that. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Gors?
No, thank you very much. Thank you very much for clarification. Yeah.
Any question?
Yes, my name is Todd Marin. I was invited by a friend I saw on YouTube, and it's very interesting because happiness, we all want happiness. Happiness is something that we all want and we all strive for. But I'm hearing these comments, and I also have to share too. I find that the happiness comes from within inside me, from the actions that I do. So the things that I do that are the right thing can share with each other, the more that we can grow together. And I really do look forward to reading the book. Thank you.
Thank you, Todd. Any other?
Can I add something? Because what Todd just said, it's happiness is always relative, like everything else in life. But once you have the purpose, which is what I opened my speech about, it's the purpose is life itself, and the purpose is bigger than me bigger than you, bigger than anybody. It's bigger than the I, you know. So once we realize that, first of all, the knowledge and the perception of things, seeing things, it's unbelievable how every day you learn new things and you search for the truth and search for what is beyond what the small little brain has as a data inside, and you try to get it, and we grow, and more we grow, more we see that the purpose, it's bigger than us, and we find it in doing volunteering work. We find it in doing things that it can help, not make it as a self-help, but it's helping others, because our purpose is not our purpose personal, it's the purpose of life, and life, our realization of life as an individual, and we are small little let's say element in this life, so it's bigger than us. And about the question, and I told him what is the difference between purpose and goal, because actually a lot of people, they ask me and they tell me what is the difference between purpose and goal, and what I try to tell them and make them understand. The goal is what make you go toward your purpose. The goal, you fulfill it now and you keep on going, and you have other goals to go toward your purpose, because your purpose is as big as life. This is what I believe, and I hope that some share the same point of view of what I said. Of course, the purpose of life it varies from one person to another, and it depends of the perception of how we see things and the perception how we live our life. Because some people also, we cannot say it's easy to find the purpose of life, because some people, they are in developing country, they are struggling to eat tonight. So it's for them, they don't see purpose of life. As Edward said, they see instincts. They want to get food first before seeing the other things that is coming beyond. So yes, I'm done. Thank you, Brent. Thank you.
If I can add something quickly, am I allowed?
Sure. Thank you,
Okay.
Malak.
Okay, so I would like to chip in a little stuff from the perspective of purpose, happiness, and happiness as we relate to it, and goal and purpose. So for me, I usually like to think purpose from the perspective of vision. You know, usually when people talk about purpose, purpose simply put is it talks about the question of why. Why am I here? What am I doing? You know, for companies, it talks about why are we existing, and what are we doing, and why are we doing what we are doing. So it's usually a broader statement of how we approach life and how we look at existence. So it talks about the question of why. So, but I think it's a little bit hazy when we look at it from that perspective, when we try to approach the question of purpose by just looking at purpose in its holistic term as it appears. But to make it a little bit clearer to the person, to the individual, to your mind, to be able to comprehend it, understandable question, that is the question of vision. When we not talk about vision. So the vision for someone's life becomes that which someone sees, and which conditions the person's activities and do's and don'ts today. So vision is that which you are, which conditions what you do now. So you see yourself, you could see yourself as a practical example, as someone who would be the savior of your community, as someone who wants to bring about peace, someone who wants to bring about justice. That is a vision of who you are. It is a sense of vision. So in that sense, it becomes your purpose. But to achieve your purpose, you would have to set goals in order to achieve your purpose, to achieve your vision. In order to get to that your vision, you have to set goals. And most often people talk about goals, and the kind of definition they give to goal is likened to targets. is likened to short-term stuff that you're going to set to meet. But it's very important for us to understand the role definition plays in our lives, because life will reward you according to the definitions. If you wrongly define a term and you go about that thing that you're pursuing with that wrong definition, that is the same reward that life will give to you, irrespective of how good intentioned you are, irrespective of how so much good you want to do. Perhaps you do not understand the concepts and the roots of those concepts, you're going to be treated the same way. Life is going to return it back to you, because the very thing that underscores life is interpretation. In our life, in our existence, the way you interpret your environment, the way you interpret the world will be how the environment, how the world will return it back to you. And so I define success as people, your ability to succeed is determined to the degree of your better interpretation of the world. If you interpret the world clearly, then to a large extent, success will be accrued to you, because you don't get to impose your notions of what you think about the world on the world. You get to interpret the world, try to understand the world in a better way, so that your chances of success will be increased. And if you look at how history, evolutionary history, how it rewards species, different species, it rewards species based on their interpretation and their conceptualization of the world. The species that better interpret the world have the greater chance of success and get to the top of the food chain. And clearly, that's what had happened to us. Our ancestors had a better interpretation of the world, courtesy of our ability to develop rational thinking with the development of the prefrontal cortex. So that allowed us to interpret the world and to give better definitions to things, and we're able to survive up until now. And even now, if you don't interpret the world clearly, you still fall into danger. Practical example is this: if you're crossing the streets and there's a car coming and you do not see that car coming, it's a shortfall in interpretation. What will happen? Death. So the consequence of a lack of better interpretation of the world, how nature rewards that, is through extinction, is through death. So that is why it's important for us to understand the role definition plays in our lives. So coming back to the question of goals, I think goal talks about who you become that will allow you to achieve your vision. Because when you see a vision of what you want to do, of the kind of life you want to achieve for yourself and the things you want to do in the world, there is a certain level of becoming that you have to go through. There's a certain level of some of personal transformation that you have to go through to enable you to be able to have the quality and the talent and the skills and the competencies and all of those qualities within you. There's a certain level of mastery you have to attain to be able to achieve that goal. If you don't get to that point where you become that person that can manifest that vision, you're not going to be able to manifest that vision. So it's a very important question that we need to really think about when it talks to goal. So goal is different from target. So your target can be, I want to make $50 million this year. That's the target. But for so many people, they can think about that as a goal, but that's not the goal. But to understand what a goal, the difference between a goal and a target, you now say, who do I need to become able to achieve this $50,000 that I want to achieve? So you now say, I need to take courses and become maybe a better digital marketer. If I want to become a better programmer, I'm going to do this and do that. When I become this kind of a person that can deliver this certain amount of value, then naturally, by natural consequence, the targets that we want to achieve will now come to us. So goal is what you set. Goal is a vision. Goal is who you become that allows you to achieve the vision. So I think these are some of the nuances that we really have to bring into perspective to really understand how it plays into what we are doing. And then finally, the question of happiness also comes in as to what is it that makes us happy. So from a scientific perspective, some people can say that when you talk about happiness, then it's a question of having a greater dose of serotonin flowing in your system. the chemical that causes you to be happy. While others will say, no, that is not happiness because it could wear off and go away. But if you look at how evolution and how nature rewards us for the actions we take, is by the secretion of that serotonin and in a greater amount of those. So it could be for a larger amount of time or shorter amount of time. But I think the basic thing that underlies happiness, if you really want to understand the question of happiness and how it continue to manifest in our life, it's a simple word, it's a simple concept: growth. If you continue to grow according in the line of the vision that you have set for yourself, and you see yourself progressively going towards that, achieving that gradually, little by little, then that level of happiness, you will continue to get it. It's not a finite state. It's not an objective state where you get to and you say, I am now happy. Because when you now get to that point, you say, I am now happy infinitely, it means that you have stopped growing. And once you stop growing, you die. The basic characteristics of living things is growth. So we need to keep growing in the path of our vision, in the path of the purpose that we want to achieve for ourselves, for us to continually attain that level of happiness. I think these are some of my thoughts. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Augustus. Were there any other questions that anyone had or remarks? I think that's a wrap for that. Then there's some closing remarks here listed. Edward, if you want to take the mic once more.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I think I've said most of what I wanted to say, but I think I'll kind of summarize here. We're all committed to a number of goals. First of all, again, with OC's book, noting that it starts from within. You know, we've talked about public policy, and that's very important, and many of us, like myself, are involved in that. But ultimately, change comes from within. And the success mantra is, I think, is exactly the sort of thing that not only African countries need, but all countries need. That's why I'm very excited about this being an international effort here. And that part of it, and that a key part of it indeed, is that we reject fear. We recognize that we all have that capacity, as we were all discussing. It's something that is inbred in us as creatures, as animals, so to speak, but it's something that we can overcome. We're not guided by and ruled by our instincts. We can overcome it. And then if we do, as OC suggests in the book, overcome fear, which that also means that we can face the other problems that we have that come from inside. Anger, for example, we see unfortunately in America's streets today, we see a lot of this coming out. And so, you know, I'll be brief in my conclusion, but I'm just very excited about this book. I'm going to be suggesting it to other people in this country, in the United States, in the futurist movement, the transhumanist movement, the abundance community. Some of you, I suspect, are members of that as well, as something I think is an important contribution, because it starts, as OC also said, you don't start by converting politicians. They're going to be the followers. You have the micro approach that he discusses, and I think that that's what we can all on this meeting do. We can all promote these ideas on a one-to-one basis through our own contacts, through our own efforts. I'm going to try to be hooking up OC with some people I know who are both in Africa and here who are very interested in these subjects. So you may be getting some emails from me. And I hope all of you will do that, because it shouldn't just, this isn't the end, the book party, so to speak. This is the beginning. And now what we have to do is go out and, as it were, operationalize these ideas, make them into reality. They start in our minds. They started in OC's brain, but we want them to be manifest in the world, not just, between the covers of a book. So again, I want to thank you Osi, for your excellent efforts. And I'm so happy that I met you and look forward to our future associations and to working with all of you on these incredible projects.
Thank you, Edward. Just wanted to remind everyone once more before we go our separate ways that if anyone has any interest in purchasing the book or just supporting the book in any way whatsoever, feel free to reach out to OC, or surely anyone else here can get you in touch. I think that as Augustus put it, goals are essential to achieving success, and sometimes goals are related to helping other people achieve their own goals, and that can give us satisfaction in itself. As Edward was just saying, action is needed, and so if you're willing to take forth the action or any actions necessary to help propel this world into a better place of being, you're in the right crowd. OC, any last remarks? The book is listed on Amazon for sale. You can also, again, email. The email address is authorosinakachi@gmail.com. If anyone has a pen and paper and wants to write that down, again, that's authorosinakachi@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out. Are there any other remarks before we end this session?
Let's all congratulate OC.
Just want, Brent,
Mom?
just want to say thank you to everybody that spoke today. This was really, truly very interesting and inspiring. There's a lot going on here in the United States right now, and it's good to come together and listen to all your thoughts. I found them really interesting, and I wish everybody thank you. And congratulations to OC.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, author. Thank you, all the jury members, special guests, distinguished guests, and all the participants. Thank you so much for inviting me, as well as giving chances to hear from all around the globe. Thank you so much. What a wonderful session. Thank you.
Okay, this is very good occasion. It's all right. Let Kiyoshi Nakatsu become successful in his book. Okay, be well known in the world, right? Let his idea guide the world toward the future, right? That's what I expect. Nivawani, right? That's great. He has done a lot of great work. He's a very hardworking person, and let him become a kind of moral, right, for the fortune for other people. That's great. Congratulations, Mr. Nakatsu. Thank you.
Thank you again, OC Nakachi. Would you like to say anything more before we part? Anyone else?
Okay.
Sorry, we have someone raised his hand long time ago.
All right.
It's
Marco.
Neliana.
Lenaya Daniel Chimdindo.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone from here. I'm happy to be part of this program. I want to say a very big congratulations to my brother mentor Sinachi Akomakano. Equally wishing you greater heights. This is just the beginning. You are going to do wonders. I see that potentials in you. But I equally have a question that has been bothering me as far. This issue of purpose. I've tried to listen to so many things that have been said about purpose. I really want to understand, is this purpose inborn or something that one acquires in the course of living? And if it is inborn, why is it that most times that people don't really live up to their purpose in life? What are the actual causes of one not being able to live up to his purpose? And you see that sometimes I've always that most people will look at things and begin to derive visions from it, or they will just stay like this and look at people doing things and they feel like they want to start doing this or start doing that. Why is it like this? And especially, I want to understand the very first question: is purpose inborn or acquired in the course of living? Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone here. Thank you for this opportunity. All right.
Am I to answer?
I want to thank too, Dr. Kalu. It's great that we here in Agora discuss ideas. There is some quotes that I'm not sure who the author, but great mind discuss ideas, and I'm sure, and I'm really glad that we discuss ideas. We discuss such structures, fears, happiness, not the people or that's great that we see in the nature, in the core of the nature of some coincidence or some process that we have in the world. Yeah, and I'm sure that everybody needs to appreciate this book. I will get it for sure.
Okay, finally, I would like to also congratulate my very good friend, Sunakachi, on the publication of his book and his good works. I think we need more of ideas like this that will help us to continually target the individuals, because I so much believe in his approach, which he talked about as micro, one individual at a time. When we do that, there's no need, it's an illusion to target the crowd, because there's no such thing as the crowd. There's only the individual. If you're able to get one individual at a time, then gradually we can now infect the others with the healthy idea that we are propagating. So thank you very much for these ideas that you put forward, Mr. Nakachi. Hope to get the book and also review and also contribute in my own course. So thank you very much.
Okay, quickly, I wish to thank each and every one of us, especially Grant Emma for the sudden master of ceremony, and I wish to thank Edward Hodgin. He's always there for me. Whenever I call on him, he will just answer. So he's always available. Wish to in same vein thank Malak, Goffredo, Ozioma, and all of us who some of us have not met before, and history begins a day, a time, and a moment. So I feel humbled and honored seeing all of you here. So I truly appreciate and I thank you all for this wonderful opportunity. And I see it as a respect. It's not easy to call on someone and the one honor the invitation. It's a privilege and also a motivation for me to do more. I promise to be the best version of myself for the betterment of humanity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Osi, for everything you do. Everybody for partaking.
Thank you. I would like
thank you very much.
To say congratulations one more time to Osi, and I call now we are live streaming on Facebook to call everyone to get the book. You can find it on Amazon. The price is very, very affordable for the young people out there, and actually it's there. And I would like also to call make donations for the book if you are, you know, if you have the means, because Ossi, he dedicated his time and he's dedicating his life right now for the work that he does as volunteering with Tufts and for other things, and trying to make a change in Africa, in Nigeria, in other places. Your help to Ossi will be really appreciated, because we try to support him and help him with anything we can, but he's a young man and he has a lot of potentials, and I hope that everyone can be there to help him. And once more, thank you very much for having me, and I thank every person here and the audience on Facebook. And I would like to end my words by saying the world needs us. The world after the COVID-19 is going into a situation that it's very, very, let's say, and I will not say the word scary, because scary and fear and everything, it's, I try always to stay away from it, even though now I know and I realize, since I knew Osinakachi, that the fear, it can be turned into a positive factor in our life, to turn challenges and that negative emotion into positive one, to do wonder in your life. However, chaos is out there. What we've seen in the United States is going worse and worse. And we are there. We're not only spreading hope, we're spreading goodness, and we're spreading, let's say, the wind of the evolution of our species, that we don't go into chaos, and we overcome the challenges to be better, using the technologies, using all what is we have available right now, and can be used positively to change our world and to move on in this earthship all together as one. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Malak. Again, congratulations, Ossi. Is there anything else? Well, thank you again, everybody, for being a part of this. And thank you most of all, Ossi, and congratulations. And hopefully this book can be a success and one of many more to come. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much, Ossi. Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you. Congratulations. Many,
Bye-bye.
many congratulations.
Bye.
Thank you so much
Congratulations,
for having me on your show. Thank you so much. Thank you all the distinguished guests. Love you from Nepal.
Okay, it's all right. It's
Thank you, everybody.
it's great work of yours. Let it be, okay, successful. You move ahead. Congratulations, Mr. Osinakachi.
Thank you.
Congratulations, my brother. I'm very, very much happy. I'm happy for what you have done and what you're doing.
Okay,
God
thank you.
continue to bless you.
Thank
Congratulations.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I just want to say thank you, much love and respect, and I'm very excited for your book.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Let me end. Okay.
Okay, that's good. Great.
Cheers. See you all later.